the cross-examination by Mr. Pushlela.
Thank you.
I understand that there is an interpreter available.
Come again?
I understand that there is an interpreter available.
Who is the interpreter, if we may find out?
I think Nelisiwe might know.
Nelisiwe, do we have an interpreter arranged for today?
Yes, Judge. She's in the meeting.
Can she please show her face? Can you please find out what is happening, Nelisiwe?
That's fine, Judge. I'll quickly call and find out.
I just don't like to keep the court waiting. If we can just maybe just wait for a few minutes. I see the interpreter is here. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, milady. Good morning, milady. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you give us your full names?
My full names are Gladys Shole.
Shole.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, milady. S-H-O-L-E.
Shole.
Yes, milady.
Yes. Do you swear that you will interpret whatever is said in these proceedings from English to Setswana and from Setswana to English?
Yes, I do, milady.
To the best of your ability.
Yes, milady, I will.
Thank you very much. Where is the witness, Mr. Late?
Lady, we are here. Can the court see him?
Yes, I can see the witness. I don't know whether is it from my side, and I'm going to request the interpreter to be in the middle. If you can just check your position, Mrs. Shole, Miss Shole.
Am I okay now, milady?
Yes, you are fine now. I'm just waiting for the witness. It's just that your face doesn't come out clearly, Miss Shole. But I hope we can hear you. Just say something so that.
Am I visible now, milady?
Not quite, but we can hear you. It's fine.
Okay.
Yes.
I can see him.
Where is the witness? Miss Marriott? I hope we don't encounter connectivity problems from the High Court.
No, we seem to be okay, milady.
Okay. Miss Marriott, what is the problem now?
Judge, I think they left the meeting and they're going to rejoin thereafter. I'm not sure.
Okay, that's fine. Where is Mr. Late?
I'm sorry, my lady, we were kicked out of the meeting. We're back now.
Thank you very much. Nelly Siwe, can you swear in the witness?
Thank you, Judge. Sir, please state your full names and surname for the record.
Lamathatsi Theophilus Nofile.
Do you have any objections to taking the prescribed oath?
Yes,
No.
Miss Shole.
Okay. A mme o tla nka kano ga o kopiwa gore o nke kano re. Ha kgotla e go kopa gore o nke kano ya go bua nnete, a mme o tla dira yalo papa. O tla ikana go bua nnete. Yes, I don't have any objection in taking the oath.
Just before you proceed, Nolisiwe, I'm going to ask you, Mr. Nofile, to wait for the interpreter to interpret what was said by anybody else in these proceedings before you respond. Isn't it you requested the services of an interpreter?
Re o gopole ga yana ke re le kopile o kopile gore o tlisetse toloke tla go tolokela nga ke re ya no go botlhokwa gore ga o tla go buiwa ka ntlheo o lete pele ke bue pele ka Setswana. Ga o fetsa go bolela ka Setswana ke gona o tla nkarabang ka Setswana le na be ke fitisa karabo ya gago. Wa nkutlwa re? Pa?
Yes, you may proceed, Nolisiwe.
Do you swear that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
A mme wa ikana ge gore se sotlhe se o tlileng go se paka mo e tla ba nnete, nnete fela, nnete yotlhe. Wa nkutlwa re? Yes, I do.
Please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
Emisa letsogo la moja o be o re Modimo o nthuse. Emisa letsogo la moja. Modimo nthuse.
Modimo nthuse.
So help me God.
You are hereby sworn in.
Thank you very much. Mr. Nofile, you have been recalled today for the purposes of cross-examination by Mr. Pihlela, who's representing the NGO Precious Angels.
Re ba re o biditswe mona ge, o biditswe gape ke o emetseng NGO Precious. Wa utlwa re?
Precious Angels.
Ke Precious Angels. Wa utlwa re?
E ka utlwa.
Understood?
Yes, Mr. Pihlela.
Thank you, my ladies. The court pleases. Good morning, Mr. Nofile.
Ba go dumedisa re? Re Nofile?
Ase,
I'm here to discuss certain aspects of your testimony that you gave earlier.
O tlile ka tsheko gore o tlo botsa dipotso ka bopaki ba gago bo setse bo file nakong e fetileng. Wa utlwa re Nofile?
e ka utlwa.
Understood?
Prior to today, did you have an opportunity to go through the statement that you made?
Pele ga tsatsi la ka tsheko, a mme o kile wa kry-a tšhono ya go bala statement se o se kwadisitseng?
Au.
No.
Okay. My lady, the statement is from page 7698.
Page?
7698
Yes.
to 7700. That is the statement that I'll be referring to today. Mr. Nofile, I understand that prior to working for Precious Angels, you worked at Kalafong Hospital, correct?
Ba re pele ga gore o berekele Precious Angels, o no bereka ko Kalafong Hospital, a mme go yalo re? Re
go
Nofile? That is correct.
E go jalo.
That is correct.
Now, can you briefly describe your duties? The duties that you were performing at Kalafong Hospital?
Tlhalosa ge gore o no bereka go dira eng ko Kalafong Hospital?
Zero kolmaka.
I was cleaning.
Now, who had employed you to work at Kalafong Hospital?
Yaanong ke mang na go hirile gore o go bereka ko Kalafong Hospital?
Ke Nompumelelo Ncube.
Ke Nompumelelo mang?
Ncube.
Nompumelelo Ncube.
Eh.
Now, I understand that you work at Kalafong Hospital.
I'm going to request you to repeat that. I think something was wrong. I don't know what happened with your connection, but please repeat that.
Apologies, my lady. How long did you work at Kalafong Hospital?
Yaanong ko Kalafong Hospital o berekile nako e kana kang re?
Ra bereka nako e telele ko Kalafong.
We did not work for a long time at Kalafong.
Now,
Just a second. Mr. Nofile, you keep on saying we. The question was directed to you alone, but you can just tell us when you say we, who are you also referring to? Except other than yourself.
Re le nna ntse ke utlwa gore wa re ga o araba. Potso ha e potsa e lebisitse ko go wena ka sebele gore wena o dira eng, wena o noetsa eng kae. Yaanong wa kopege gore o tlhalose gore ya ka o ntse o araba o re re. Ga o bua ka re, o bua ka wena le mang yaanong?
Ke bua ka batho ba ntse re bereka le bona ba re girileng bo botlhe.
When I say we, I'm referring to all the other people that we worked together with.
Okay.
Now, during cross-examination by Advocate Raja Batlenda SC, you indicated that you worked for a period of 5 months.
Ya nung ba ruile wa re ha o araba advocate yo na go botsa bila mo araba ka gore o berekile kgwedi tse 5.
And that you started at Kalafong, then to Precious Angels.
Ya nung o bore o simolotse ko Kalafong o bo fitlhelela ko go Precious Angels. Yes, I said so.
Okay, now in order for me just to understand, how long were you employed by Mrs. Ethel Dube?
Ya nung Ethel Dube o mmereketse nako e kana ka nyen.
Ethel Nube.
Ethel Dube, pardon my lady. Ethel Dube o berekile nako e kana kang go gene.
A ke gopole sentle gore ke nako kana mara from Kalafong to Denville a ke berekile go Ethel, but nako ke mo ke seng sure ka nako gore ke nako kana.
From Kalafong to Kai, Denville.
Mm.
I do not remember precisely how long I worked there, but from Kalafong I went to Denville. I just do not remember for how long did I work with Ethel Nube or for Ethel Nube.
Okay. Were you on duty on the 23rd of June 2016 at Precious Angels? This was when patients were being transferred.
23 June
2016.
23 June 2016. Mme no togetse ko Precious Angels but ke ka nako tseo di patients ne di transferwa.
Like nako e fetileng re le mo ke boletse ka re like tatsi leo ke fitlhe di patient tse di setse di le teng ba re fitlhe.
As I mentioned earlier on, that on that day when I arrived to find that the patients were already there.
Okay, so just so I understand, in paragraph 2 of your statement on page 7698.
Paragraph
2, my lady.
Okay.
Paragraph 2, your statement sa gago.
You mentioning that during the month of June 2016, you started working at Precious Angels as a cleaner.
Gwate o ngwadisitse mo gore ka kgwedi ya June 2016 o ile wa simolola go bereka ko Precious Angels ya ka motho o kolomakang.
Will it be correct? Will it then be correct to say that the date that you are indicating here, it's a date that was it before the 23rd of June or was it after the 23rd of June, if you can recall?
Date you o buang ka yone mo. Mme ke pele ga di 23 tsa June kapa ke morago ga di 23 tsa June.
Jaka ke ngwadisitse mo statementeng a gona exact date ya gore ntse ile tsatsi le le feng. Ke rile ka kgwedi ya June because like ke sebaka ke sa gopola pila gore ntse ile neng ka kgwedi mo statementeng e leng a gona letsatsi la exactly gore ke di 20 mang or ke di 20 mang.
As contained in the statement there is no exact date where it states the date whereupon I started to work, because I too do not remember precisely the date where I started to work then. That is why the statement is like that, without a precise date.
Okay. Now, Ms. Mbuba will testify that on the 23rd of June, she received 22 male patients who had one pair of clothing, a summary of their files, a container with toothbrush.
Just go slow, Mr.
Apologies, my
Sheila,
lady.
and please just cut your sentences so that the interpreter can be able to interpret. Just say something, let her interpret, and then you continue.
Yes, Your Ladyship, please.
You have just indicated that Ms. Mube will testify that On this day, the 23rd of June 2016, she received 22 male patients. Then you can take it from there.
Yes, she
Mrs.
received
Interpreter?
22
Yaanong Precious Dube yena ga bua a re ka date eo ya di 23 June 2016 o ile a amogela di-patients tse 22
Male patients.
di-patients tse 22 tsa banna ka letsatsi leo.
Yes, continue.
and that they had one pair of clothing.
Yaanong mongwe le mongwe o na tshwere fela para e one ya diaparo tsa ga para.
They had a summary of their files.
Ba na le summary bokhutshwanenyana ba di-file tsa bone.
They had a container with toothbrush and washing racks.
Yaanong ba tshwere a container e na leng toothbrush le vaslab.
Now, do you have any comment on that?
A mme o na le sengwe se ka se buang mo seo?
Tsebe tshwere tsona ke dilo tseo ke di bone ke to theogela.
Yes,
Container as toothbrush first lap ya go tlhapa.
Yes, I saw those things when I became on duty or when I came on duty, the container with the toothbrush and the washing rag.
Now, you say you saw it, you saw those things. Did you see them carrying them, or did you see them? Where did you see these things? I mean, I'm trying to understand that because
Dilo tse ga o re o di bone re nofile o di bone kae o di bone ba di tshotse kgotsa o di bone kae?
Ka mogara moago ka ba nna ke fitla di-patient tse setse di fitlhile ga di fitlha tse ke seteng ka mogara moago ka naka o tlhapisa di-patient ke mo re boneng dilo di ngwetse mabitso a di-patients.
I saw the things inside the building. When it was bathing time, I saw the items with the names of the patients on them. I saw the items in the building because at the time when the patients arrived, I was not there.
okay. Now, just so that we have a clear understanding of how your duties evolved, you were hired to work as a cleaner.
Wena ga ne ba go hira re na ba go hirile gore o bereke ya ka cleaner go yalo.
Go jalo.
That is correct.
And then you testified that later on you started working as a caregiver.
Ya no wa re morago ga nakwana o ile wa simolola go bereka ya ka caregiver kapa motlhokomedi.
Go jalo.
That is correct.
Now, do you still recall when you started to perform different tasks from the ones you were performing at Calafon?
Ya no a mme wa gopola gore e ne le leng mo ne o simolola teng go etsa mosebetsi o sa tshwaneng le o no o etsa go Calafon.
A ke sa gopola di-date pila ka bane ke kgale.
I do not remember the date well because it is a long time ago.
Okay, maybe let's try to assist you there. You do recall that from Calafon you started working at Denville, correct?
Mme wa gopola ge gore go tswa Calafon o ile wa simolola go bereka kwa Denville go yalo? Yes. Yes.
Now, when you arrived at Denville, what were your duties there?
Ya no ga o fitlha kwa Denville mmereko wa gago e bile go etsa eng?
Ko Denville tse re thusa ka go delivera mempeto le go yankanya lefelo le for di-patient tse di tlo tlang mo.
At Denville, we were working to deliver the beds and to prepare the place for the patients that are going to come there.
Just hold it there. To deliver the beds and?
to prepare the place.
Yes.
Yeah, pa.
You were
Really
helping
Itse
to
go
deliver.
deliver
Just a
dipete.
second. Come again.
O itse ne le bereka go deliver dipete le go lukisa lefelo lewa. Go yalo pa?
Go yalo.
That is correct, my lady. To deliver beds and to prepare the place.
Yes. Just to interject, for the purpose of the record, Denville is the same as Precious Angels. Am I correct, Mr. Nofile?
Ya no re go yalo gore ga go twa Denville be go twa Precious Angels ke ntho e one e tshwanang. Yes, it is correct, so my lady.
Okay, thank you. Continue, Mr. Pichel.
If I may clarify, my lady, Precious Angels was operating from two places, one in Atteridgeville, the other one in Denville. One was housing females, the one in Denville, I presume, was housing males.
Yes, thank you
So
very
they
much.
under the same NGO.
Yeah. Thank you. I just wanted to, so that the record should reflect that Denville is one of the places where Precious Angels operated. I just I wanted to make it clear to the witness that when he says Denville, he refers to Precious Angels. Thank you.
Yes,
May continue.
Now, Mr. Nofili, let's deal with paragraph 2 of your statement before we move on to the other paragraphs.
Just bear in mind, Mr. Pichela, I don't think the interpreter has got case line before her or anything. Just go slow so that she can be able to interpret.
Okay.
Seka paragraph 2, ya statement sa gago.
Continue.
I understand from this paragraph that initially, Precious Angels was supposed to be housing patients at Kalafong Hospital, correct?
Ya no, a re se ke se tlhaloganyang mona e ne le gore gantlentle mo tshimologong go ne go tshwanetse e le gore Precious o di patients o bereka le tsone ko Kalafong Hospital. A mme go yalo?
Ga go jalo.
A se ke se renofile?
Ga go jalo.
Not correct.
Can you tell us then what you were doing at Kalafong Hospital?
Ya no, tlhalosa ge gore wena o no dira eng ko Kalafong Hospital?
Ko Kalafong Hospital, tse re kolomaka for and zaitse go tlo ba le crèche.
Ko Kalafong ne le kolomaka? At Kalafong Hospital.
For bana ba banyane.
At Kalafong Hospital, we were cleaning. The witness is cutting some, my lady, because I only hear him mention something about a creche and children. The other parts got cut.
Mr. Nofile, can you please become clearer? What are you saying? Why were you cleaning at Kalafong? What was the reason for you cleaning there?
Lebaka la gore le clean ko Kalafong ine le eng?
O Kalafong tse ethel zaitse go tlo tsena o bula crèche go teng o tsena bana ba banyane crèche yo berekang 24 hours.
At Kalafong, they were going to open a crèche. There was going to service for children. There was going to be working 24 hours,
just
7 days a week.
What I picked up from what you said, I don't know whether the interpreter captured it the right way.
Yes, ma'am.
I think the others are there who are well conversant with the language, but I don't want you to be saying lots of things before the interpreter interprets. You must also say the interpreter is to stop you so that you shouldn't be saying a lot of things. What I picked up from what you were saying, you said you were cleaning at Kalafong, and Ms. Ngube said they were going to open a crèche that would operate for 24 hours.
A mme mafoko a gago e bile wa re rre ga ne o tlina ko Kalafong mme Semncube o ile a go lebelela gore ba sile go bula crèche e tla be e bereka 24 hours 7 days a week. Wa nkutlwa re? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it is correct, my lady.
You may take it from there, Mr. Pichel.
Yes, court pleases, my lady. Sir, I think you're mistaken. Ms. Ngube will testify that at Kalafong, initially when this project was implemented, the marathon project, she was supposed to receive child patients. So that is why she was preparing the place at Kalafong to receive those child patients, mental health cases.
Ga ke o dira so ka obane ga bua o tla re yena mme nako eo e ne ile gore go tshwantse go lokise lefelo lele la ko Kalafong gore le tlo amogela di-patients tsa bana.
Do you understand, Mr. Nofile?
Wa tlhaloganya phapang?
If I may, come again.
Ya khata ke loop.
Le nna ke a khata ka mona.
Well, did you manage to hear what I asked Mr. Nofile?
A mme o ile wa kgona go utlwa potso o butswang yone wa be wa e tlhaloganya re Nofile?
Ka ukwa sentle ona le mo ke sa utlwang sentle mara.
Okay.
Can you repeat or rephrase, Mr. Pichel?
Yes, as your ladyship pleases. I said that you are mistaken. Ms. Ngube will testify that the place at Kalafong, when this project, marathon project was implemented, she was supposed to receive child patients. Hence, she was preparing that place in Kalafong to receive those child patients.
Ga o dira phoso re kana Ngube yena ga a bua o tla re ga ne e simolola marathon project e go ne go lokisa lone lefelo leo la ka Kalafong le lokisetswa gore yena a tlo amogela di-patients tsa bana. Wa nkutlwa?
Ka utlwa mme.
Yes, I heard the question.
Se se bolelang ke se Ms. Ngube se ntsa re boleletse sona he nna re mmotsisa.
Se o se boleletseng ke mang?
Re lefelo le re le kolmakang le tlo bereka fo go eng. Like ha re tlhalosetsa a re botsa gore ne o tlo irala ha crèche ho vele go tla bana ba banyana o tlo bereka ka bana ba banyana. Then it tlo ba ile day and night. Tabe e bereka ka metsi.
What I was told was that that place is being prepared to run a crèche for children that is going to be operating day and night. Wa re o boleletse ke mang? O ntse o kgatha ke go tle gore wa re o boleletse ke mongwe.
Ke Miss Ethel Ngube.
I was told. Oh, I was told that by Miss Ethel Ngube when we asked her.
Just hold
Since you
it there.
insist,
Just hold it there. Yes, Mr.
Since you insist, Mr. Nofile, Ms. Ngube will
Just a
say-
second. If we can just check what the witness has said, I understood what he has been saying to say. What I'm saying is what Ms. Ngube told us, that the place was to be used as a crèche. that she will be working
Hello?
with children.
Amuela yourself.
Hence, my lady, I tried to clarify it to say that he's mistaken when he says it was going to be
No,
correct.
it's fine. I just wanted just to give you what, yes, and then it's for anyone to understand what it means, because I'm trying at all costs to follow his language, and I think our interpreter is doing well, but she must just she shouldn't let the witness to say a lot. Even yourself, you must be able to shorten your questions so that the interpreter can interpret everything that the witness is saying. Proceed,
Yes,
Mr. Pihlela.
Now, I will address the issue in argument when Ms.
Okay,
Mube
that's
testifies, so nothing turns on this.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Nofile, paragraph 3 of your statement. I again, upon reading this paragraph, if you would like an opportunity maybe to read it, a short paragraph, or would your ladyship prefer that I should read the paragraph instead?
It's better to read it to the witness and then the interpreter interprets it.
As your ladyship pleases. I see we have it displayed on the screen.
Okay.
It says here, yes. After a week, not sure about the exact date, the male patients were transported to Precious Angel's home by Gauteng Emergency Medical Services Patients Transport from Life Esidimeni Care Center, and they were in the company of Ethel Ngube, Nontlanhla Ndlovu, and Mpho. The patients were in possession of medical files, prescriptions, medications, SASA cards, and identification books. We were given overalls to wear while working at the center, and also the Colgate socks, morning slippers were donated to Precious Angels.
Ya no mona statement sa gago se re mo mra ga beke ha o sa gopola date sentle go ile ga transportiwa ge di patients tsa banna di transportiwa di tliswa ko Precious Angels home di tliswa ke Gauteng Medical Services di bantsha ko Life Esidimeni Center ebile ba na le kapa ba tsamaisana le Ethel Ngube, Nontlanhla Ndlovu le Mpho. Di patients tseo ne di tshwere go go bona di medical files tsa bone, ba tshwere di prescriptions tsa bone, ba tshwere meriana ya bone, ba tshwere di karata tsa bone tsa SASSA le di ID tsa bone. Lona le la fiwa di overall gore le di apare ga ntse le bereka mo yone center eo. Yaanong tse dingwe tse di bona tse dingwe da bonala ke di Colgate, di Kousu, di slippers tsa bone tse ebileng tse leng tsa bonala ke di Colgate, di Kousu, di morning slippers tse ne di donated the Precious Angel home.
Now, what I would want from you, Mr. Nofile, is to understand the context of this statement. Now, this was not on the 23rd of June, correct?
Yaanong se se badiwang mo ga se se diregeleng ka di 23 tsa June. A mme go yalo?
Jaaka go le mo paragraphong a gona mo go na le date e ngwetseng gore ke dikwae.
As it is in the paragraph there is no date mentioned.
Yes,
After week statement.
Wareng re?
The statement se thoma ka gore after a week, no a gona date a gona eng mo.
The statement starts with after a week and there is no date mentioned.
Yes, but as you indicated before that you were not present when patients were being delivered.
Yaanong a re sa go bolelang sone ke gore wena no seyo ga di patients ne di goroga kapa ga di fitlha ko.
Exactly, ntse ke se hona mme.
That is correct. I was not there.
Ka nako ke theogetseng ka yone. Tse setse di le teng di patient.
At the time when I started to be on duty, the patients were already there.
The needy loze ke di boning di medical file, di medicine, di karata, the ID. Then le go tlo fitlha ausi a donateleng di Colgate, di kousu, di slippers. O tlile bosigo.
The lady who donated the Colgate, the socks, and the slippers came at night. I saw the medical files, the prescriptions, the medications. Yes.
The problem that I have with your statement, Mr. Nofil, is that you mention things that seem to fall out of your own knowledge, because do you know anything about medical files and prescriptions?
Wena
What
ka
they-
wena go na le so sitseng na ka di-medical files le di-prescription.
Medical files, like ke di file tse di tlileng le di patient files, like the brown, somebody or di na le orange monze, some, and then the prescription ke di pills inside the legal container.
The medical files are the files that came with the patients. They were brown, or they are brown in color and have some orange color as well. And the prescriptions too.
Mr. Nofile, let me assist you. Ms. Nube says she did not receive, she received a summary of patient files.
Yeah, no, but Miss Ncube yena ga bua a re o ile a fumana summary ya the medical files.
Would you know the difference between a complete medical file and a summary?
Yeah, no, wena wa itse ge phapang mo gare ga medical file e feletseng ba bitsa full medical file le medical file e kwetseng fela ka bokhutswane e leng summary. O ka kgona go bona gore e ke medical file e tletseng e ke bitswang ka gore ke summary o di bona gore ga di tshwane.
I got one because like I resa dumellwa go tlhokomana le di file dilo tsa go tshwana le tse go na le motho ntse a berekang ka tsona straight.
I did not see that because we are not allowed to work with the files because there was somebody who was working with the files directly.
And then like office tso go dumelletse yena o ntse a berekang ka di file tse a di kopollela somewhere for Miss Ethel Ncube. A di kopollela somewhere mo bukeng, a kopollela mo bukeng for ke a boditse ke a laetse ke Miss Ncube.
And then at the office, there was somebody who was working with the files, copying the files into a book, having been told by Miss Ncube to do so.
And motho o ke yena o itseng dilo tse gore file ke medical file o felletsweng or byang.
Now there is a person. There is a person who would know if there was complete medical files or not. I do not know if it was a complete file or not.
So let me understand. You had nothing to do with medical files, correct?
When I how no saber que sepe no say sepe ka medical files.
Sepe mo di medical files sing ka one officing a re fitse a ra dumellwa di file bo di card di ID medication tse se dilo tsa di langa tsona re.
Okay. I had nothing to do with medical files because we are not allowed at the office where there would be files, medication, IDs, and so forth.
Yet somehow,
Just a second, Mr. Pichela, I'm sorry to interrupt. Miss Sole. Yes, you didn't interpret the last part, which was, I didn't deal with those.
I didn't deal with those. Thank you, my lady.
So you are not even allowed to be in the office that was holding those files, correct?
Yaanong o ra gore ebile o ne o sa dumelelwa le gore o ka tsena ko yone office e ne e tshwara di-file ko ne ba beya teng di-file.
Office Daily right? Go tsena ka monyako fela ke office ntho ya mathomo o tlhakanang le yona.
Now
Then
when
like,
you
o feta
enter
gona mo yona but a wa tshwanela go ema mo bulana le di-drawer tsa di-file.
at the door there, when you enter, you see the office, it's right there at the door. But then one is not allowed to open the drawers and go through the files. Re no file, ononzo kata mo go gompa.
Yes,
Kopa o
just
boeletse gape.
before, okay, just repeat that.
Kopa o boeletse gape ntate ononzo kata. Ha o ka bua fela statement se se khutshwane.
Hey, like office ya o tsena mo ka monyako go tsena ka dining room. And then
When
like
you
lo
enter through,
kitchen o feta gona mo office.
when you enter through the dining room door, through the kitchen, one passes the office.
Hey, and the key tsa di locker tsa di file tse di tshwara ke Miss Ethel Ncube.
The keys to the lockers of the files were kept by Miss Ncube.
Yeah, Mr. Nofile, just listen to the question attentively. We don't want those details. You just tell us, answer the question as it is being asked. Right?
Mamela re Nofile, ga o botswa potso o retse sentle o boe araba potso eo fela. Ga ba batle dilo tse dingwe tse di ngata-ngata, ba batla fela gore o utlwelele potso o bo araba se o butsiwang sone fela. Wa tlhaloganya rre?
E ka tlhaloganya.
Understood, my lady.
You have just told this court that you were not assigned to deal or to work with those files together with the document, the whatever thing that you said you saw it, which was for the patients.
Yaanong a ke re o fetsa go tlhalosetsa yaanong gore o ne o sa dumelelwa gore o ka bereka ka di-file le tso tsotlhe tse dingwe tseo tse ileng wa di tlhalosa gore tseo o ne o sa dumelelwa go bereka ka tsone tse dingwe tsa di-patients.
Hey.
Yes.
Now, what Mr. Pihlela asked you was, you are not even allowed to enter the office where the files were kept. Is it that this requires a yes or no? Right?
Yaanong potso ge e latelang go tswa moo ke gore a mme go yalo gore ebile o ne o sa dumelelwa, o ne o sa letlelelwa gore o ka tsena mo gare ga office ewa. A mme go yalo kgotsa nnyaya? Yaanong ka araba ka eya kgotsa nnyaya?
E tlo ba boima go araba ka eya kgotsa nnyaa. Ka go ya go di-patients tshwanetse ke fete mo officing, which is right mo mathomo mo tsenang entrance.
It will be difficult for me to answer that question with a yes or no, because in going to the patients, I have to pass right there, which is right there at the door.
Okay, Mr. Pihlela, you can take it from here.
Yes, Your Ladyship pleases. What concerns me, Mr. Nofile, is that you mention a lot of documents here. You mention prescriptions, medication, SASSA cards, and identification books.
Yaanong a re se se mo mmakatsang ke gore o bua ka dilo tse di ngata, di-prescription, dikarata tsa SASSA, di-ID book tsa bone, di-medication.
And this gives an impression that you actually sat and looked at all those documents and you were able to identify each and every one of these documents.
Yaanong a re seo se tsa gore motho a nagane gore tso tsotlhe dilo tseo ile wa ba le nako gore di shebelle tso tsotlhe ke ka moo o kgona go ka di bitsa sentle tso tsotlhe gore e ne le eng le eng le eng.
Now, can you explain how you came to know of all these documents that you are referring to here?
Yaanong tlhalosa ge gore go tlile yang gore o felele o itse ka tso tsotlhe di-documents tse o fetsang go bua ka tsone tse.
Jaaka ge ke mmoleletse advocate Pihlela gore mme a tlisitseng donation ya di-toothbrush, di-Colgate, di-socks ding o tlile ntse le mantsiboa.
As I mentioned to you, advocate, that the lady who brought the donations of the toothbrushes, the socks, is the lady that I said came in the evening.
A tlile o tlile le Miss Ethel ka nako eo ha ba tlisa dilo tseo tse re felletse bo botlhe re le staff ha tlisa dilo tseo ke mo di boneng tsa di-files re di bone. Okay.
She came with Miss Ethel at that time. We were all there present when she came with the things, and that is why I saw them, or that is how I saw them. Here, the files.
For the files, the medication, the so those are the warning. Tell her kana going to get an angayon.
Regarding the files.
That's why busy guys on the Kuala mo.
Kimana busy guys on it.
Tsegofatso Tefo.
Tsegofatso Tefo is the one who was busy with the items that I'm now mentioning regarding now the files and all the other documents. Those are the things that I saw Tsegofatso busy with at the time when I came in.
Did Tsegofatso invite you to come and assist her to write down those lists of those items?
Yeah, no, Tsegofatso is busy ka the items tseo. We la go bitsa gore o tle mo thusana gantsa di kwadisa.
No.
No.
So you were looking over her shoulder?
Yeah, no, how bua yalo a mme ha ne Tsegofatso ntse di ngwala wena lo ntse o lebeletse ka kwa godimo ga gage mo dimo ga legetla.
Ow.
No.
So what I understand now is that the items were not for your attention. You are not the one dealing with those items. You are not the one making a list of them, but somehow you mentioned that you know all those items that Tsegofatso was dealing with. How is that? How did you come to know of those? Did you wait?
I don't
understand.
a re go tla yang ge gore wena o itse ka dilo tsotlhe tseo tse wena o tlhalosang gore Tsegofatso ke ena na le busy ka tsone a di kwadisa wena go tla yang gore o itse ka tsone a re ga tlhaloganya.
Tsegofatso o re boleletse staff ka moka Miss Ngube tsa se go lefelo la tiro Tsegofatso ga tsa ga le busy a re bolella.
Tsegofatso is the one who told all of us, the whole staff members, when Miss Ngube was not there. She then told us, she was telling us this.
Why was she telling you all these things? Was there nothing to do duty as a clean?
Can I ask Advocate Pihlela a question?
I don't understand. You are not here to ask questions. You are here to give evidence. Right? You can just tell us what you observed. We just want to know the facts which can help us to determine the issues before the court.
Renofile barka check wena o tlile fela go tlontsha bopaki ga wa tla go tlobotsa dipotso wena go bela go tla bopaki ba gago gore kgotla e tlo kgona go boseola e kgone go rarabolla se se leng pele ga kgotla yaanong ya.
Okay.
Understood.
Mr. Pihlela, continue.
Can you answer the question, Mr. Nofile?
Bare araba potso ge Renofile.
Tsegofatso ka wa ntse le consent re bereka le ena and then tsa re bontsha gore go diragala eng mo ka di-file tsela mo di-fileng eng o kopola di-file o dira eng ke mo a re bontshitseng.
Tsegofatso was concerned as she was working with us, and then she was busy copying those files as she was busy writing them, and that is why she showed us.
Concerned about what, Mr. Nofile?
Ona le concerned ka eng Tsegofatso?
ka mmereko o ba mo fileng ona.
She was concerned about the work assigned to her.
That still doesn't make any sense. What does that have to do with the fact that patients came with this and this and that, with all these documents? In fact, what does it have to do with you and your duties?
Are a ke tlhaloganye gore anong seo se go ama yang wena se amana yang gape le di-documents tsa di-patients.
Ka one ke bereka ko tse ke bereka ko teng. Then like we all re tshwantse re itse gore re bereka ka eng re dila le ntho tse bjang.
Because
please re fitlhela gore re bereka ka ntho e jang o tseba bjang gore re bereka ka batho ba bjang re sena lesedi ka bona gore go ba tlile ka mathata a majang le a mabjang.
Because we work there and I work there. So how are we going to work with those people if we do not know what kind of problems they have, the people that are there, or what kind of problems made them to end up there?
Mr. Nofile, if you can, just a second, who is this Tshegofatso? What is his name? What is his full name? Tshegofatso, you say it's Tshegofatso Tefo.
Tshegofatso
Tefo.
Yeah, already le na o file statement le.
Tshegofatso Tefo is the names, other names in full. Tshegofatso Tefo also submitted a statement. Tshegofatso ke mosimane, ke monna, ke mosadi re?
Ke mosimane.
Ke re. Tshegofatso is a male person.
Thank you. Proceed.
So what I understand from what you are saying is that when Ms. Ngube was not there, this Tshegofatso therefore allowed you access into confidential medical files of patients, correct?
Yeah, no, me puya gago ere wena re ha ne Mangube a seo kwa Tshegofatso na le letlela a le itsisi dilo tse di fitlhegileng tse di confidential tsa di file tsa di patients. Mme o re yalo? No, that isn't what I say.
What are you saying? Because you indicated that how can you work with people when you don't know their conditions and so on? Maybe you need to clarify that.
Are o re yang ga o re yalo. Kwane kweno fetsang go bua gore se sengwe le gore le tla bereka yang le batho le sa itse gore ke mathata a ntseng yang a batiseng ko lefelong lewa.
Ntse re fa lesedi Tshegofatso.
Tshegofatso was giving us information or enlightening us or informing us.
About what?
Ale fa lesedi a le tsebisa eng?
Just come clear so that we can understand you. We fail to understand what you're saying. What is it that what was the message that he was sending to you? And why did he have to show you this information?
Ya nung ba re bua o utlwa le re gore ke eng e Tshegofatso a na le itsisi yone le gore go baneng a na le tsebisa sona.
Tsa tsebisa gore re itse gore di-patient tse di tlile ka mo Precious Angels di tshwenya ke mathata a majang a batla ka mathata a o tshwana.
She was informing us to know what kind of problems the patients that have been brought to patients and to Precious Angels have, for us to know that they are there with different problems or different challenges rather.
This, I'm sorry, Mr. Pikela, because, okay, just continue. I'll deal with this towards the end of your cross-examination.
Yes, the court pleases, my lady. Now, Mr. Ngube will come and testify that she did not receive any SASSA cards.
Huh? She did not receive?
Any SASSA cards. SASSA, South African Social Security Agency.
All right.
Yeah, no, Miss Ncube
Not
yena
any SASSA cards.
re yena Miss Ncube ga amogela SASSA card, ga fumana SASSA card. Kgotsa di-SASSA card.
She will produce a document dated the 30th of June in which a list of patients which indicates the applications that she had made to SASSA in respect of those patients.
A re bile o tla tlhalosa document a engwetseng ka di 30 tsa June ma entseng list teng ya di-applications tsa di lebisitseng ko SASSA tsa di-patients tsewa.
Di-card tsa SASSA ntse di le teng.
The SASSA cards were there.
Thank you.
Ms. Ncube will deny that. Yes. Now let's move on. Now you mentioned that at the beginning of this project marathon, when the patients came to Precious Angels, there was food at the place. There was no shortage of food, correct?
Go yalo ge wa re ga di-patients tse di fitlha ga ne go thoma project marathon ga di fitlha ko Precious Angels no go na le dijo di lekane go yalo. That is correct.
Now, you also mentioned that about 1 or 2 months, that's when problems started with the shortage of food, correct?
Ya no go yalo ge gore ile wa re ile yang ka nako ya kgwedi kapa tse pedi ke go simolola mathata ya nong a dijo go yalo. That is correct.
Now, Ms. Ncube will testify that the problem with the shortage of food was because she was not being paid by the Gauteng Department of Health.
Ya no Miss Ncube yena ga bua o ila o tla re yena bo ile ba simolola bothata bo ka bane o na sa patelwe ke ba Department of Health.
And that she was financing everything. The initial startup, she was financing it from her own coffers.
Le
Which
gore
ran dry.
tsotlhe ne di patalwa ke yena ka tšhelete ya gage e leng ya fela. Yes, that is correct.
Now, I wanted to refer you to one incident. You said you knew Mr. Terence Chaba, correct?
Or Terence Chaba, no me go yalo.
Terence Chaba.
Did you say Terence Chaba?
Yes.
Hati re Terence Chaba. I remember.
Is there anything specific that you remember about Mr. Chaba?
Me gona le ntho e rileng fela e tlhageletseng kapa e rileng fela o e gopolang Terence Chaba ka yone re o ka yone. I do not remember well.
What about Mr. Spiwe Makunga?
Sipiwe? Advocate Sipiwe who? Mapunga.
Makunga.
Sipiwe Makunga. Uyena warenga yena?
Sipiwe Mapunga.
Mapunga.
Yeah.
Mapunga.
With a P.
With a P.
Mapunga with a P, advocate?
Makunga. Makunga.
Okay, with a K. Makunga, Tate Makunga, ka K, isn't ka P. Ma.
Yeah,
Yes, I remember the name.
What specifically do you remember about Mr. Makunga?
Ki ingo yung kapalang ka Sipiwe Makunga? I no longer remember well.
Do you know Sipiwe Tabete?
Siphiwe Thabethe yena wa Misi.
Piwe Tabete, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, mabitso a mputsisang ka ona ka bone mo listing ya mabitso ba mphileng hore ke gopola boma. But
Yes,
if go na le photonyana ne ka gopola hore o ke mang ka hona le di photonyana mo site at least.
The names that you are mentioning, I remember from the list that I was provided with to say who I remember. However, the list would have been much more helpful if there was a photo for me to can be able to remember who the names refer to.
So you were given a list of these names. By whom?
Yeah, no worry. Do I list ya mabitso ao? We feel like a man list eo.
From the court, it is exactly podisha ke khale it is before ke tla lo tla court ya mathomo. It ile pele Supina, are ke Supina.
Mabitso kelele Supina. Yeah.
Ke Supina ba re so Supina tla for go court. But it is before court di tlo thoma go tla nna.
Before I even came to court, I got that list of names from a police. We know Warenka Supina Papa.
Yona list ye ba re ke Supina list ye.
The list is a subpoena.
Subpoena from go court.
The list was a subpoena from court.
What else was on that list? Other information that was there.
Mabitso a di patient fell. Mabitso a mantsi more than 100 ya mabitso.
Names of patients, more than 100 names of patients.
What was the message?
Then it shouldn't be difficult to report.
Just a second. What was the message on that subpoena that you received?
Molaetsa o bone mo subpoena o no reng. No go kwetse molaetsa o reng mo subpoena.
I go hopefully sentle man. That one ebile le pampiri list e la ke isile aga tshwara mo nna ke isile go high.
I do not remember so well because even that document I forgot it at home.
Mr. Pina, Mr. Late.
Thank you, my lady. My lady, a subpoena to be a witness in an inquest normally has a place where the deceased name is listed. Now we attached a copy of all the deceased, of the names of all the deceased to the subpoenas that were served on each of the witnesses.
Okay, thank you. That is why I was asking him what was the message from the document that he's talking about. It's fine. Thank you.
Okay.
My lady, I don't want to sound like I'm crying foul here, but I understand that my cross-examination should only be interrupted by an objection, and I didn't get an objection from Advocate Late. So, and this witness is here, is listening. So I don't understand why he felt the need to interject into the proceedings and interrupt me.
Yes,
unless
Mr.
I'm
continue.
So,
Continue.
Mr. Nofile, do you know Lucky Maseko?
Lucky Maseko, Amitere? Renofile?
Lucky Maseko, yeah, Kamiti Lucky Maseko.
Yes, I know Lucky Maseko.
What do you know about him? What do you know about him? What is it that you know about him?
We see Lucky Maseko.
Lucky Maseko. Rankare ke gopola sentle kwa nna tshwere ke nna le bothata ba ke something. He defeats, yeah, something like body defeats. Defeats.
Lucky Maseko, if I remember well, he had a problem with fits.
Now, were you there when Lucky Maseko died?
On the only thing, how to file Lucky Maseko?
Oh.
No.
Were you there when Lucky Maseko was brought to Precious Angels?
On only thing, how Lucky Maseko at least Precious Angels?
Yes,
Yes, I found you there.
Do you know Mr. Eric Mashilwane?
Eric Mashilwane, Wamizi?
Eric Mashilwane,
Yes, I do.
What do you remember about him?
Eric Mashilwane.
Eric Mashilwane. Ke nagana nkare tse le ntate o mo ka ntse a tshwere ke stroke tlile nka nna na le stroke gore
Eric Mashilwane, I think he was a person who came there having suffered a stroke.
And what else do you know
About
me?
Kayena. I no longer remember many things. It's been a long time.
You know, Mr. Josiah.
Mr.
Sir, please continue. No, the witness was still saying something, my lady. Apologies for interrupting him.
Oh, ntse ke re like mabitso like ntse a bitsa bana na lo tshwaranyana gore marena wa kra go ba boima gore ke gopole gore exactly ke motho mo lebitso le exactly ke la motho mo so.
As you mentioned the names, I find myself having a problem to can remember precisely each name, who it belongs to.
Yeah, but the thing is, Mr. Nofile, when you get your evidence in chief, you are not having those type of problems. And those people like you mentioned in evidence in chief.
How no fausimola go fa bopaki ba gago o no sena bone bothata bo ntsenyana bo fetsang go botlhalosa yana. Yes, I do not have that problem.
Everybody seems frozen now. I don't know if it's my connection or what.
Who is frozen?
The interpreter.
I see Mr. Sim is raising a hand there. Can we hear you now, Mr. Sim?
I'm still here, my lady. Oh. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, Mr. Sim.
Thank you, my lady. I just wanted to say that if Mr. Pichlela is going to point out an inconsistency in the witness's evidence from what he said in evidence in chief, that he should take the witness to that part of the evidence that is inconsistent with what he is saying now.
Okay, Mr. Pichlela, there you are.
My lady, that's elementary. What I'm talking about here, I'm talking about a list of names. Now, it doesn't help me to take the witness to any inconsistency when he says, I don't remember this person properly. I mean, what inconsistency is there in him saying that? If he says, I don't remember, he doesn't remember. I'm just mentioning the fact that all these names that I'm mentioning are not at random. Those are names that he testified to in his evidence in chief, and he had a lot to say. Now, if you were to say something further under a particular name, which is inconsistent with what he said before, then I would maybe take him to that. But what I'm pointing out is merely a fact that in his evidence in chief, he knew these names, he had a lot to say, but a few weeks down the line or a month or so, he no longer remembers some of those people.
Yes, Ms. Hassim.
Lady, I'm not sure where Mr. Pichela is going with it. My recollection of the evidence of the witness was that he referred to certain patients that were at Precious Angels, and where he couldn't remember, he said he couldn't remember. There were certain patients he did refer to, and I suppose those are the ones that he remembered. But he certainly did say, in respect of some, that he couldn't remember.
Yes.
And
Before you reply,
anything.
Just a second, Mr. Pichela, I'll give you the chance. Before you reply, Mr. Late, do you want to say something on this aspect? Mr. Late, are you there?
Yeah, my lady, I agree with Ms. Hassim regarding the evidence in chief of the witness, just by stating a broad statement that why can he remember, could he have remembered in his evidence in chief and now he cannot remember? That's unfair, because in his evidence in chief, he specifically told the court that certain of the deceased he could remember, others he couldn't remember what happened to them. That's a court, please, my lady.
Thank you. Before I close this, can I hear other views before I go back to Mr. Pichela? Okay, thank you, Mr. Pichela.
My lady, what I'm saying here, with respect to my two learned colleagues, the evidence that was given in respect of particular names.
Yes.
I don't know if my lady, the witness should step aside for a bit.
He has already done so. I don't see him on the screen.
As your ladyship pleases. For instance, with reference to Mr. Spiwe Mapunga, he had a lot to say. He was able to tell the court about his condition. He was able to tell the court about how he used to work on him and change his nappies and do all sorts of things. Now, that is not something that you can easily forget. And now when asked about Spiwe Mapunga, he doesn't remember. Hence, I'm saying, my lady, it is not a question of him having contradicted himself per se. It's a question of him, during evidence in chief, he was able to recollect, and now in cross-examination, he seems to have forgotten all those names. Now, I don't want to impeach anybody's and suggest that maybe he was poached or whatever the case might be.
But why don't you take him to that evidence, his evidence, so that we can hear what he says? Why didn't you take him to that evidence to say, in your evidence in chief, in respect of this particular deceased person, you said this, but now you are saying this, then we hear him. You haven't done that. You are saying you are concluding it on the basis that he said he can't remember. Maybe that is the issue that is before us, because in any event, in the evidence in chief, there were some witness, the names where he said, this one I remember, right? But with regard to those that you feel that he said a lot during evidence in chief, why don't you take him through that?
Yes, your ladyship.
Can you please do that? But in the meantime, I see is 11:34. I think this is the time for us to take the tea adjournment. Can we break for 15 minutes? And then we will resume at we can resume at 11:40. This is 35. No, we can resume at what time?
11:50, 10 to 12.
Yes, 11:50, correct. Thank you very much. The witness, where is the witness? Can you please warn the witness, Ms. Sole?
Okay. Wankutare. Re tla emisa ganyane for tee, re tla boa gape ka 10 to 12. Wa tlhaloganya papa?
e ka tlhaloganya.
Understood, milady.
Yes,
Wa
you
itse
need not
gore
discuss
wa
your evidence.
tlhokomediso
Okay,
gore o ska
continue.
kgotla a ke re ntse le paki. O itse gore ya ka re breaker yana ga wa letlelela gore o bue le ope ka bopaki ba gago le ga ile eng se se dirageleng mo court ya go sampane o le mo tlase ga kano a ke re wa tlhaloganya. Understood, my lady.
Okay. Thank you. The court will take a tea adjournment. We will resume at 11:50.
May it please the court, my lady.
As your ladyship pleases.
I see the interpreter went out. Are you ready, Miss Sole?
The technical glitch, we are okay now.
Okay.
We are okay now. Thank you, my lady.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Pichela.
Escort, please, my lady. Yeah, Mr. Nofile.
Just before you
Yeah.
proceed, the witness is reminded that he is still under oath. Miss Sole, can you just interpret that to the witness?
Re no file. Gopola ge gore o ntse le tlase ga kana ya go bua nnete re go yalo kere.
Ya go yalo.
Confirmed, my lady, to be still under oath.
Thank you. Continue, Mr. Pichela.
During your time at Precious Angels, there was a patient named Mr. Terence Chaba. Do you recall him? Do you know him?
Yeah, no, na kwele o sampalelo ko go Precious Angels. Hona le re no go tla ke Terence Chaba. Ame o mo gopola re? Re no file. Wa mo gopola Terence Chaba.
Ega mo hopola.
Yes, I remember him.
Is there anything about him that you remember in particular, Mr. Nofile?
Ame gona le sengwe se se rileng fela so mo gopolang ka sone ka pa so se gopolang ka re Terence Chaba.
Sa hopola sentle. But yena ka mo hopola ba go.
I do not remember.
Sa go hopola sentle.
I do not remember. I do not remember so well, but I remember him, though not so well.
Now, Ms. Ngube will testify that when Mr. Chaba got sick, she called an ambulance. It did not come, and she then had to transport him to hospital in her own private motor vehicle.
Yeah, no, what Ms. Ngube are we la kula Terence Chaba. Hana kula Terence Chaba yena Ngube ababita ambulance. Me haya fitla. Wa fela gore yena Ngube o isa Terence Chaba hospital ka ya gagwe koloi.
Do you perhaps recall this incident?
Me wa gopola tiragalo eo.
A ke hopole. Maybe ntamo ke na go nna maybe ntse ke se yo.
I do not remember that incident. Maybe it was at a time when I was not there.
If I may get from you, Ms. Ngube, do you recall of any incident in which Ms. Ngube had to transport a patient to hospital in her own vehicle? Her private car?
Wena o gopola tiragalo e kileng ya diragala e ne ya etsa gore mme Ngube a ise motho ko sepetlele ka ya gagwe koloi?
Oh.
No. No.
Now, this incident obviously is confirmed by the evidence that has been given before with reference to Mr. Chaba when he arrived at the hospital, that he was brought by a private car.
Ya no ga tipo eo e tsamaisana le record ya ko sepetlele e reng Terence Chaba ga fitlhile ko sepetlele ga fitlha sepetlele o fitlhile ka private car. I do not remember that.
Now, Ms. Nguba will testify that if she had been informed about Christopher Makova,
But Christopher
Makova,
Makgoba.
if she had been notified about Mr. Christopher Makova requiring urgent medical help, she would have, as a last resort, used her motor vehicle to take Christopher to hospital.
Yeah, no, a re Miss Ncube ha e le gore o ile a tsebisiwa ka Christopher Makgoba. Tota nka ba ile a nka matsapa gore a mo ise sepetlele ka ya gagwe koloi. Ha e le gore o na tsebisiwa ka Christopher Makgoba.
Would you deny that?
A mme o ka se ganetsa seo?
Gore a ka se ganetsa seo.
O ka se ganetsa? I can deny that.
Come
On
again?
what basis?
I can deny
Okay.
that.
Yes, on what basis would you deny it?
Yaanong o se ganetsa ka mabaka a feng kapa a reng?
A go nne ko bokelong ga ba dumela go tisa molwetse ka koloi ya gago. A ka go ka diragala something mo a le matsogong a gago ka koloi ya gago. O to ba mathateng le ba department.
Because
Because
at hospital, one is not allowed to bring a patient in your own car. Because what then in the case, should something happen to that person while they're inside your car, then you'll have problems with the Department of Health.
So, according to you, Mr. Nofile, if there is an emergency, I see that you're busy paging through something in front of you. Can we see what you are looking at, Mr. Nofile?
Re a mme go na le sengwe se o ntse o pager mo go sone mo wa-
Okay, coffee ma.
Okay. Raising a cup of coffee.
Okay. Now, back to my question, Tate Nofile. Are you saying then that in an emergency situation, a person would not be allowed to transport a patient or whoever is sick to a hospital in a private car because they are afraid they will not, as you say, they will get in trouble?
Yaanong re no file mme o ra gore motho a ikry-a le mo tlase ga kgatelelo e le gore o mo maemong a mo pateletsang gore a ise motho go sepetlele ka koloi ya gagwe. Motho ga tshwanela go se dira seo ka bana tshaba gore o tla bona mathata a Department of Health.
Molao wa o dumele ntho ya mathomo.
The law doesn't allow that, firstly.
And that is the basis upon which you deny what my client will come and say.
Ke ka lebaka
What is-
leo o ganetsa puo e ya ga mme Ncube. Yes.
Okay. Now, during the time when you had Precious Angels, there was a time where there were shortages of medication, correct?
Nako eno le ko Precious Angels se go na le nako go ileng go tlhaela meriana, medication, go yalo. Ka nako e leng go shorta ditlhare. Go yalo. That is correct.
Now, Ms. Nguba will testify that this was a prevalent problem and that despite being linked to some of the clinics, they were unable to assist with medication.
Yeah, no, mme Ncube a re eo e ne le bothata ba ne setse bo tlwaelegile, bo atile, ebile ko plekeng eo ya gagwe. Le ha ile gore go na le tleliniki tsena ba berekisana le bone, mme no go tla bo le teng bothata bo ba go tlhaela ga meriana.
ga ke tlhaloganye ha le re ditleliniki tse ntse dirisana le tsona ka hobane nna ga ke di tsebe but like go na le paramedics tsa private tse tsa dirisana le tsona le private mortuary. So
I
di
do not-
tsebang.
I do not understand because I do not know any clinics that she is working with or linked to. However, I do know about private paramedics and mortuaries that work together with her or that she makes use of.
Yes, but you must listen to the question attentively. The question is about the medication. What Mr. Bihlela is clearly saying to you is that Ms. Ncube will testify that yes, indeed, there was a problem with the medication, this shortage, and she tried to go to the clinics and couldn't help. She couldn't get help.
Yaanong ba re o retse potso sentle o ba e araba potso ke ka meriana gate a re Ncube nne go tlhaela meriana go e leng gore le ditleliniki tsena a berekisana le tsone la ro batla thuso ko tsone o na sa kry di-medication kapa meriana le go sala go tshole yalo go tlhaela medication.
This is what she's going to say. So Mr. Bihlela wants to know what is your comment to this?
Yaanong advocate ne batla go utlwa fela gore comment ya gago ke eng.
Okay. Yeah, ona bothata.
What are you
And
saying to this?
Yaanong wa reng mo puo eo ya ga Ms. Ncube?
Kana ra utlwa ya polelo ya Miss Ncube gore a re.
A ke re polelo ya Ms. Ncube ya ka judge a go tlhalosetsa e re puo ya ga Ms. Ncube. Ms. Ncube a re ko plekeng ya gagwe go dula go tlhaela meriana go e leng gore nna re la ya ko tleliniki tsa berekisanang le tsone a ba felela a sa kry medication.
Tse o tlhaela meriane tse tlhaela.
Yes, there was a shortage of medication.
Continue.
Mr. Nofile, in your under cross-examination by Advocate Raja Batlenda SC, you mentioned an incident where one patient had to be force-fed because they were refusing to eat. Do you still recall that incident?
Ba re go na le nako no botswa dipotso ke advocate o rileng o bo o bua gore wena go na le patient e ne ba ya tshwana gore e pateletsiwe gore e je ka lebaka la gore yone e ne se batle go ja kwa e gopola nna tiragalo eo.
Ke sa gopola.
I remember the incident.
Do you still recall the name of that patient?
A mme o sa ba no gopola lebitso la patient eo?
Christopher, yeah, something. Christopher.
I
Is it
think.
perhaps Christopher Makoba, the one we were talking about just now?
A mme ke Christopher Makoba e no go bua ka yena pelenyana. Yes, it is the one.
Okay. You mentioned that you were supposed to receive training at Precious.
Supposed to receive, advocate?
Training on how to be a care worker.
Yaanong go tswile wa bua gore o ne o tshwanetse go mana training ya gore o be care worker.
Can you repeat that? I think you
Apologies, my lady.
broke. If you can just repeat the interpretation, Ms. Soli.
Re go tswile wa bua wena wa re o ne o tshwanetse gore o fumane training ya go ba care worker. Yes.
And in your view, this never happened, correct?
Yaanong wena wa re gape seo ga sa direga. Yes, it did not happen. That is correct.
Ms. Ncube will come and testify that indeed you were supposed to receive 10 days of training as a care worker, but because of the situation, being that the premises had to be moved from Kalafong to Denville, this process was delayed.
Yeah, no, mme Ncube a re e go yalo o no tshwanetse gore fumane training ya 10 days. Mme ka selo se sa gore go etsege gore go tshwanetse go fudugiwe yanong go tswa Kalafong go iwe go Denville e be e le gore arrangement kapa thulagano eo ya diega yanong. Yes.
Should also testify that instead of
Just
that
a second.
training,
When you say yes, what does it mean to us, Mr. Nofile? We don't understand you.
Yanong re Nofile ga o re e o ra gore ga o tlhaloganye gore o ra gore
ke ra gore 10 days it's a training, then like it was after Kalafon, it's really go Denville. Then like
yes means that yes, we were told about the 10 days training, and at that stage we were already at Denville.
Yes.
and
it did not happen.
Continue.
Mr. Nofile, would you say that the time you spent at Precious Angels, where you were assisting as a care worker, has improved your skills in that field of care workers?
Can you come again, advocate? The time?
The time that he spent at Precious Angels, would you say that it has given him further skills on how to care for mental health care patients?
Yeah, no, how bua wena re Nofile a me nako ele o e tlhotseng ko Precious Angels a me ile go fa nako e ya go kry tsibugo le kitso ya go tlhokomela batho ba leng ko maemong o no iphumana le ko bone ko Precious Angels? No.
So you didn't learn anything?
Ga wa ithuta sepe?
ka sere a ka ithuta sepe, like ka ba a ke tsebe le gore sa mathomo go jakega eng go diragala eng, like nna ke dirile ntho eo setse di-patient di le teng, sa itse gore dira ntho e right or ke dira ntho e wrong na.
I cannot say whether I learned anything because I did not know what was needed, because I found myself in a place where the patients were already there and I was doing that, not knowing if I was doing the right thing or the wrong thing.
Now, you'll agree with me, Mr. Nofile, that you had somebody to supervise you, correct?
Me go yalo re gore o na le motho o na go supervise? Yes.
And obviously, if that person saw you doing wrong things, they would tell you, correct?
Ya no seo se ra gore yena motho o wa ga go bona o etsa sengwe se se wrong o na ka go bolella. Yes.
Now, do you understand what practical training involves, Mr. Nofile?
Me wa itse gore practical training e na le eng kapa e go ruta eng kapa e amana le eng?
Practical training ke selo se o se dirang o sa se bale ka go bukeng ke se o se dirang.
Practical training is what you actually do, not what you read in a book.
So is it correct to say that you are receiving practical training because you are not reading from a book, you are doing the work, actual work, every day?
Yaanong a mme go ka tswa o ne o fumana yone practical training wena go ane letsatsi le letsatsi o ne o dira mosebetsi owa o sa bale mo bukeng.
Ee.
Yes.
So would you still say you didn't receive any training, Mr. Nofile?
Yaanong a mme le yaanong o sampane o ka re ga wa fumana training.
Nna ntse ke sa etse ka training jaaka training tse ke etsa jaaka mmereko, then like tshwanetse ke ye sekolong se se registerilweng sekolo.
I did not take that as training. I took that as working, and that I was supposed to go to a registered school to receive training.
Oh, so you wanted to be taught first and then shown how to do the work later. That's what you expected.
Mme wena sono se letetse ke gore o rutiwe pele and then morago gape bo bontshiwa gore mmereko o dirwa yang.
Yes,
Ho
there's
jalo.
a hand here. Just a second.
Yes.
Miss Marriott? Or is that
No,
Mr.
it's
Lee?
Mr. Late, my lady. I'll just ask this court to ask from Mr. Pishlela, where is he going with this? This witness only testified that they would have received training, but he went away before that could be done. That was his testimony in chief.
Come again?
What kind of training is the best, and what the witness wanted is of no consequence whatsoever. I don't know where he's going with this.
Yes, Mr. Pishela?
My lady, the point has been made, the witness has answered. There is no need for me to revisit it.
Yes, but we must avoid certain questions if whatever you are going to ask is not going to help us, isn't it? That is the issue that Mr. Late has raised, because now we take so long on the issue, so we don't know where you are getting to with regard to the issue. To say that it has been answered, it doesn't solve the problem, because we don't know. If we were not stopped, you are going to proceed.
No, my lady, that was actually, I'd finished with that point. I was moving on to something else.
Yeah.
I was done with the point, and in fact, it was the last question.
It can't be right. We should understand that we are all here to assist the court. We shouldn't just ask questions as we please. Okay, continue.
My lady, the point is, I was dealing with an aspect that the witness had mentioned in his evidence in chief and under cross-examination. Now, I could not leave that point without having responded to it and without having understood the perspective of the witness on that particular point. It was not a question of if the issue, my lady, I apologize. If the issue was irrelevant, then the initial question of the evidence in chief was also irrelevant. And therefore, it should not be on the court.
Mr. Late is not saying that. He just wanted you to explain to the court as to where were you getting with regard to that. Can we move this point? Otherwise, we're going to spend a lot of time with this.
As your ladyship pleases. Now, Mr. Nofile, why did you stop working for Precious Angels?
Yaanong re Nofile, hobaneng o ile wa tlogela wa emisa go berekela Precious Angels?
Ka gonne ntse re sa gole mma, ntse re sa dikhutse le dikhutse re theolela di hour tse dintsi thata.
Because we are not getting paid, because we are not even getting time to rest, and we are working a lot of hours.
And you will agree with me that during your time at Precious Angels, a lot of people even stopped working there because of not being paid, correct?
Yeah, no, mme wa dumela gore batho ba ngata ba nkwa ko Precious Angels did they stop to work or did not stop to work, advertise?
Yeah, they stopped working.
Yes, sir. Yes, I do agree.
And this obviously meant that there was a serious shortage of staff to do the work, correct?
Yaanong seo se re gore ge go ile gwa tlhaela staff se se ntsi yaanong sa go ka etsa mmereko wa teng. Go yalo? Yes, it is correct.
And that is why you also had to now carry more work than you would ordinarily have to carry, correct?
Yaanong ke ka moo o ile wa felela e le gore yaanong o jara mmereko o mongata go phala o ne o tlwaetse ka tlwaelo. Yes.
Now, I understand that you, at one time, you requested to stay on site at Precious Angels because you were having problems with transportation money, correct?
Yaanong ga tshwana le nako wena o ile wa batla go dula ko yone lefelo leo la Precious Angels ka obane o no sena lefelo la go nna go yalo?
Not a place to stay, but because of transportation. You wanted to be closer to his workplace.
Bare lebaka e ne se go tlhoka tulo, lebaka e ne le transporto. O no batla go ipona o le gaufi le mmereko. Ke ga o kopa go ka dula ko Precious Angels. No.
Now, lastly, Mr. Nofile, Ms. Nuba will say that because of not being paid for work that she was rendering on the project Marathon, some of her staff quit. She could not, some of her staff quit their jobs because she could not continue to pay them.
Yeah, no. Are missing Ncobe ka lobaka la go sa patelwe ba bang ba staff sa gagwe ba ile ba fela le gore ba tlogela go bereka ka lebakeng la gore a na tlholega go ka ba patela. Yes, it is correct.
And that the effect of this was that there was a serious shortage of staff, nursing staff, professional staff, auxiliary staff, and this affected the level of care that she would be able to render to the mental health care users.
Yaanong a re seo se le sa baka ge gore yaanong go tlhaele staff se se ntsi tota sa di-nurses, sa di-auxiliary workers, seo be se tsa ge yaanong gore service e fiwang batho ba ba berekisang lefapha leo ba tlhoke go ka kry-a service e tshwanetseng ka lebakeng la gore go tlhaela staff.
Professional nurses, auxiliary nurses.
Yes. Yaanong a re ne go tlhaela staff sa ma-nurse, sa di-auxiliary nurses,
and professional nurses.
Sa ma-nurse a professional le di-auxiliary nurses. A re ne go tlhaela staff seo se leng sa ama pleke ya gage go tlhaela ga staff.
What do you say to this, Mr. Nofile?
Yaanong wa reng mo go seo re Nofile? Yes, it is correct.
And that she did try to bring this, she brought this to the attention of the Gauteng Department of Health, and no assistance was offered.
Yaanong a re o ile ba lemosa ba Department of Health ka lebakang leo mme ga a kry-a thuso.
Do you know about this, Mr. Nofile? If you don't know, you don't know. How do you respond to this?
A mme wa itse ka seo re Nofile kgotsa nnyaa ga o sa itse ga o itse? A mme o na le karabo? I do not know.
Thank you, Mr. Nofile. My lady, that concludes my questioning for Mr. Nofile.
Thank you.
This court, please.
Just on the basis of these questions, I don't know whether is it the evidence leader has got questions to ask this witness only on these questions that were asked now.
I
by
have no
Mr.
further question.
You don't
I
have
no
any?
further.
Yes. There was a question that I wanted to ask you, but I think it's only one question with regard to Chirofajo Tefu. Mr. Nofile. This, you mentioned
Okay,
the name of Chirofajo Tefu as the person who has been the one who was allowed to work on the files, everything that the patients came with the patients to Precious Angels from Life Esidimeni. You mentioned, you remember that?
O ile wa re ga o bua ka tshegofatso tefo bo re ke ena motho a dumeletsweng gore a bereke ka di-files tsa di-patients tse ne di tlisitswe ko lefelong lewa. Wa gopola? Yes, I remember that.
What was his specific duties there?
Yaanong mmereko wa ga tshegofatso e ne le eng sentle ko?
Tshegofatso mmereko wa hae ntse ya bereka mmereko ntse nna tse ko bereka. Like tse ba mo kopile Miss Ncube ntse mo kopile gore a mo copyle di tsona di-files tse gore tsatsi lona le.
Tshegofatso was working the same kind of work that I was working. Tshegofatso was asked by Miss Ncube to copy the files for her on that day.
When you say he was doing the same kind of work that you were doing, what do you mean?
Yaanong ga o re Tshegofatso na bereka one mmereko no ntse o bereka o ra gore
Go tlhapisa di-patient
bathing the patients, le go etsang?
go di jesa.
Feeding the patients,
Le go ba fa medication wa bona.
to give them their medication,
Ntse le go kolomaka ka mo.
and to clean up.
And to clean?
And to clean up.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Hassim?
My lady, just for the assistance of the court, there is a statement by
Yes,
Ms.
I know, but I just wanted to hear from him because this is what he's mentioning. I just heard him. There's something that I want to pick up from this. It's fine.
As it is.
This Tshegofatso Tefu, did he work with you at Kalafong and moved with you from Kalafong to Denville, or did you find him at Denville? Between you and him, who started working for Precious Angels or for Miss Ncube?
Yeah, no. Tshegofatso o a mme o ne o bereka le ena ko Kalafong la fuduga mmogo go tswa Kalafong go ya Denville kgotsa mo gare ga gago le yena ke mang o simolotseng pele go bereka Precious Angels?
Tshegofatso e berekile le ene ko Denville. Kalafong tsa seo.
I worked with Tshegofatso at Denville. At Kalafong, he was not there.
Did he also, okay, as you said, okay, that's fine. When you left Denville, where was he?
Yaanong ga ne wena o tsamaya ko Denville, yena na le kae?
O setse ko morago.
He remained there.
Thank you. Are there any questions from these questions that I've asked with regard to Tshilofadjo Tefo?
I have no further questions, my lady.
Mr. Pichel?
My lady, I would have to obtain instructions from my client with regard to the questions because those are aspects that I did not converse with the witness. I need to understand exactly the role of this Tshilofadjo from my client's perspective. So if I may request maybe a 10-minute adjournment, and then I'm sure I can get hold of my client and she can just, because I just need clarity on that aspect only, my lady.
I see it's now almost 12:30. Is it possible that we take the lunch adjournment now and resume at 1:30?
I was hopeful, my lady, that we could dispose of this matter because it's only those on that aspect only.
Yeah, but I don't
know.
like this breaks because I don't know whether you're going. If we break now, then we must come back after 10 minutes. Can I hear the
Even
others
for
what they're
65
saying?
minutes, my lady.
Is it fine to break for 10 minutes or should we take the lunch adjournment now and resume at
I would
1:30?
I would prefer that we break for 10 minutes if Mr. Pichela can finish with his witness before the lunchtime.
Do we have, okay, so that
everybody.
if we don't have anybody else, then we can just call it a day. Mr. Late?
That is correct, my lady, yes.
Okay. Can we just break for 10 minutes? The witness can, Miss Solek, you can just warn the witness quickly.
Re no file re tla ema fela for 10 minutes advocate a siamisa ngakere be re boa gape wa utlwa re no file.
Okay, ma.
We will resume at 12:40.
20 to 1 ga re boa gape ke
20 to 1, yes. Thank you.
Unfortunately, the problem that I've been having with my client is with regard to instructions. I understood from this morning that she's following proceedings. We have warned her on many occasions to follow the proceedings, but she's just not cooperating. When I phone, I can't get hold of her. I send her messages and WhatsApp. She responds whenever she feels like responding. And this is making my job impossible, my lady. And I didn't want it to seem that I'm playing this game of withdrawing, because the only reason that would compel me to withdraw, my lady, is if I don't have instructions, especially with reference to this witness, because it has happened on 2 occasions already with regard to Mr. Nofile. And I just have to apologize to this honorable court. I wouldn't have any further questions to pose because I don't have instructions, my lady.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to excuse the witness. Thank you very much, Mr. Nofile, for your evidence. We hope it will assist us. Thank you. You are therefore excused.
Thank you, ma'am.
Where is the interpreter? Before you go, where is the interpreter now? The interpreter has also disappeared. Nelisiwe,
Yes, Judge, I'm here.
where is the interpreter? Can you try
I'm
to
not
get
sure,
hold of
Judge. I'll
her?
try to call her and just find
I
out.
thought she was there because I clearly indicated that we were resuming at 12:40.
Yes, Judge. I'll just give her a call now, Judge. Judge, I think we have a technical situation on her side because she says she can see herself, but she cannot hear us or see us in the proceedings.
She can see us.
No, she cannot see us, but she can see herself on the screen, but not us.
So she
Judge,
can't
just ask
even
her
hear
to
us.
rejoin. No, she can't even hear us, Judge.
My lady, if I may.
Yes.
The witness is quite conversant in English. I suggest that he will
It's
understand.
fine. Let me
that
just, I think I had
relationship-
already excused him. I just
Yes.
wanted the interpreter to explain to him. It's fine. You are therefore excused, Mr. Nofile. Thank you very much. You can go.
Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you. Otherwise, we'll keep on waiting and waiting. Okay.
My lady, I think your camera is not activated.
My camera.
Yeah, I only see your ladyship's initials, not your ladyship's face.
You can't see my face.
No,
I
only
can.
JT.
Lady, I can, but I can't see Mr. Late. I think the problem.
I also can't see Mr. Late.
Okay, it's all right. It's okay. My ladyship, I would then suggest that we adjourn till tomorrow. The witness for tomorrow will be Mavis Mogotsinyana.
Okay. Thank you very much. The proceedings are therefore adjourned to tomorrow. Tomorrow is the 12th of May.
That's correct, my lady.
Thank you.
As a court, please, miss.
May it please the court, my lady.
As your ladyship pleases.
As the court pleases.
As a court, please.